So media it's one of the foundations, the core foundations of the United States, and I believe a free society in general. When media is functioning well, it holds truth to power and holds those in power to account. But recently it's seeming as though, like, forgetting even Kyle Rittenhouse for a second, like, even a lot of the narratives around inflation in general and it being actually a good thing. I mean, I'm kind of reading this.
Who's saying that now?
Big mainstream outlets. I wish I had examples for you now, but it's here's why inflation isn't so bad. And it's if wages rise higher than prices, then inflation is actually good. And it's
the thing with inflation is wild because it's like one of these things where we still don't know what causes it.
I know.
And the Fed has been trying to generate it for 10 years, supposedly. What's interesting, it's so fascinating. What they've generated in a way is double-digit asset price inflation consistently, time over time, right? And in crypto, they generated hyperinflation.
Yeah, for sure.
In these new asset classes that have been created. And what they've done is dramatically exacerbated the wealth gap. And now prices are going up for everybody else, right? And in some ways, it's also a bit ironic when folks like Larry Summers come out strongly against the current expansive policy when they see a pickup in consumer prices. Where the hell have these guys been all this time with asset prices going through the moon and pricing out the vast majority of Americans from being able to have control over their future? This is like the deep anxiety in crypto around, we're not going to make it. Are we going to make it? Are we not going to make it? It's this idea of like, can I accumulate enough assets to be okay? Which itself is, I think, also holds us back as a society. This idea that we need to be able to accumulate some amount of assets, because I just don't think it's true. I don't think that assets provide that kind of safety. But the whole thing with inflation is just no one knows what causes it. We're trying to figure out, first of all, is the current inflation demand-driven? Is it supply-driven? If it's supply-driven, what is tightening monetary policy going to do to solve the problem exactly? If it's demand-driven, well then, is it endogenously demand-driven, or is it demand-driven because of all the fiscal stimulus? No one knows. These guys can't figure it out. It's all bullshit. No one trusts them deep down, and this is what this is all going towards. It's a steady loss of credibility. And when you got guys like Lawrence Summers, Mohamed El-Arian, Bill Dudley, etc., coming out, these institutionalists, and criticizing the Fed and saying they're behind the curve, slowly but surely, and maybe rapidly eventually, like Mark Twain says, the Fed's credibility is going to go totally bankrupt. Mm-hmm. And this is I got to say, it's for sure, I don't want to minimize the precariousness of the moment, but I can't pretend not to also be excited as someone in media and someone who has been following this for so long to see what's going to happen. Because we've been in a regime for the last, I'm going to focus specifically on since the financial crisis, which has dramatically dampened volatility, managed the economy. The Fed is in there propping everything up. Everything is going up in unison, bonds, stocks, everything. And all the sort of portfolio allocation strategies and diversity, everything's sort of on automation, automated. The notions of diversification are based on the current performance or the recent performance and behavior of assets relative to each other and the covariances. That breaks down if we move into a new system where the Fed is no longer credible, it's constantly playing catch-up, and it is now taking the lead from markets, and markets are no longer engaged in this fiction that the Fed knows best. We're in for a turbulent time, and no one knows what assets are going to be the safe ones to invest in that period. And it's a wild time, man. It's a wild time to be in this business. We're in the best business, Michael.
I completely agree, man. I completely agree.